The first time I realized my mother-in-law was trying to steal my life, it was not at the wedding. It was at 2:13 a.m. the night before. I was standing alone in the hallway outside the hotel ballroom, still wearing my rehearsal dinner suit jacket, scrolling through my phone because I could not sleep. I had just gotten a bank alert, one of those plain, ugly notifications that never comes with good news. New device sign in attempt. Pending verification. Then another alert. Password reset requested. Then, like a final nail, an email from my insurer with the subject line, Beneficiary change request received. Except I had not requested anything. I stared at that email so long, my screen dimmed. And in the reflection, I could see someone standing at the far end of the hall near the ice machine. Not a hotel guest. Not staff. My mother-in-law? She did not wave. She did not smile. She just watched me like she was waiting to see what I would do next. Then my phone buzzed again. A voicemail. From her. Time-stamped 2:13 a.m. exactly. I pressed play, and her whisper filled the quiet hallway. Do not be stubborn. Just put me as backup in case she takes everything. I did not even understand what backup meant yet. But I knew one thing for sure. By the time the wedding started, she already had a plan. And she was not there for love. She was there for paperwork. Before I take you any further, before we step into that ballroom, and I tell you what happened when she finally grabbed the microphone, tell me something in the comments. If your future-in-law demanded you change your finances the night before your wedding, would you confront them immediately, or stay quiet and collect proof? Because what I am about to share started as an insult. Gold digger screamed in front of my guests, but that insult was just the smoke. The real fire was what she tried to do at 2:13 in the morning, when she thought I was tired, distracted, and too close to the wedding to call anything off. And if I had not gotten that bank alert, I might have signed something the next day without even realizing I had handed her the keys to my entire life. My name is Evan. I was 34 at the time, and I work as a project manager for a civil engineering firm. The kind of job where everything is timelines, permits, and risk mitigation, which is probably why I have always been private about money. Not because I am rich, because I am careful. I had a 401k, a life insurance policy through work, and a small additional policy I took out when my dad passed. Nothing dramatic. Just enough that if something happened to me, my wife would not lose the house. My fiancée, now my wife Leah, was 31, a high school counselor. She was steady, kind, and allergic to drama in the way only someone working around teenagers can be. And then there was her mother, Darlene. Darlene had this way of turning concern into control. Always phrased like she was helping. Always said with a smile that did not reach her eyes. The first time I noticed something off was 6 months before the wedding at Leah's apartment. We were sorting invitations when Darlene came over to help. She did not help with invitations. She sat down at the kitchen table and asked casually, "So you have got life insurance, right?" Not, "Do you two need stamps?" Not, "Can I bring anything for dinner?" Straight to life insurance. I laughed it off. "Yeah, I've got something through work." And she nodded like she was checking a box on a form. Then she said, "Good. Just make sure it is set up correctly. You would be surprised how many men forget to name the right people." I did not know what she meant by right people, but I remembered the way she said it, like she already had someone in mind. The second little moment came 3 weeks later. Leah and I were touring a venue, and Darlene insisted on coming because she knew event people. In the car ride home, Leah ran inside to grab her laptop, and Darlene stayed in the passenger seat with me. She leaned over, lowered her voice, and said, "Evan, I just want to protect my daughter." I said, "Of course." She smiled. "Then you will not mind showing me something." "Showing you what?" "Your prenup." We did not have one. Leah did not want one, and frankly I did not either. Not because it is wrong, just because we were on equal footing and neither of us had some hidden empire. But Darlene looked offended. "No prenup," she said. "So she gets half of everything if she leaves?" I blinked. "Leah is not leaving. Darlene's tone changed like she was speaking to a child. You do not know that. Then she put her hand on my forearm, way too familiar, and added, you can still protect yourself. You just have to be smart. Let me help. Leah came back outside right then, and Darlene snapped into her sweet voice like a switch flipped. But I remember thinking, why was she so focused on what Leah would get if she left, instead of what we would build if we stayed? Fast forward to wedding week. Rehearsal dinner was on Friday, October 11th, at 7 in the evening in a private room at a restaurant near the hotel. 40-ish people, speeches, toasts, the standard. Darlene gave a toast that started sweet and ended sharp. She held her wine glass and said Leah has always been trusting. That word, trusting, hung there. Then she looked right at me and said, so I'm glad she found someone stable, like I was a job offer, like I was a pension plan. Everyone laughed politely. Leah squeezed my hand under the table like she was apologizing without words. After dinner, we all went back to the hotel where the ballroom was set for the reception the next day. The staff was finishing centerpieces. The planner was doing final walkthroughs. Leah went upstairs with her bridesmaids. I stayed behind to help load a few boxes. Guest book, signage, little stuff. That is when Darlene cornered me near the service hallway. No audience, no smiles. Just her standing too close saying we should talk privately. She led me to a quiet seating area by the elevators, and she pulled out a folder, not metaphorically. An actual folder, beige, tabbed like she had been preparing for a meeting. She opened it and slid out a single sheet. At the top it said, Beneficiary Designation Change Request. I did not take it. I just stared. She tapped the paper with her fingernail. This is simple. You just fill it out, sign, and you are protected. I said, protected from what? She sighed like I was exhausting. From her taking you for everything if she decides she made a mistake. I felt my face get hot. Leah is not that person. Darlene leaned back. You do not know what people become when money is involved. Then she said the strangest thing. You can keep her as primary. I am not unreasonable. Just put me as contingent, backup, just in case. There it was again, backup. I did not even fully understand contingent beneficiary back then. Just the general idea that if the primary beneficiary cannot receive it, the contingent does. But my question was immediate. Why would you be the backup instead of Leah's own future kids? Or Charity? Or literally anyone else? Darlene's eyes sharpened. Because I am her mother, and I know what is best for her. I handed the paper back. I am not signing anything. Her jaw flexed. Do not be dramatic. We are hours away from the wedding. You do not want stress. Just do the responsible thing. Then she stood up, and as she walked away, she said something I did not forget. You will regret being naive. I told Leah later that night carefully because I did not want to ruin the eve of our wedding with family drama. Leah listened, eyes wide. Then she went pale in a way I had not seen before. She did this with my dad, she whispered. I said, what do you mean? Leah swallowed. After they divorced, she tried to get him to change his beneficiary on his retirement. He did not. Then she told everyone he abandoned us. That was the first time I realized this was not just overprotective mom behavior. This was a pattern. Still, Leah begged me, please do not confront her tonight. We will get through the wedding. Then we will deal with it. I agreed reluctantly. But I also did something I had not told Leah yet. I changed my passwords that night. Banking, email, insurer portal. And I turned on two-factor authentication for everything. Because Darlene had been holding that folder like she already knew my policy existed. And the only way she would have that form already printed was if she had done some homework. Or gotten access. I went to bed around midnight, but sleep did not come. I kept replaying the folder, the word backup, the way she had said protected. At 2:07 a.m., my phone lit up. A text from an unknown number. Check your beneficiary ASAP. No name, no explanation. Just that. At first I thought it was spam. Then at 2:11 a.m., the bank notification hit. New device sign in attempt. Then 2:12 a.m. Password reset requested. Then 2:13 a.m. The insurer email. Beneficiary change request received. That was the moment my stomach dropped, because it was not random. It was timed, coordinated. Somebody had tried to access my accounts and also contacted the insurer. And then I stepped into that hallway and saw Darlene by the ice machine. Watching me like she had been waiting for the confirmation, I did not confront her. I did something else. I walked past her without a word. Went down to the lobby, sat in a chair near the night desk, and listened to her voicemail again, 3 times. Do not be stubborn. Just put me as backup, in case she takes everything. That message was not just manipulation. It was evidence. At 8:05 a.m. Saturday morning. I called my insurer's customer service line as soon as it opened. I said, I received an email about a beneficiary change request. I did not make it. The rep asked me to verify identity, then said, I see an attempted update submitted through the online portal at 2:12 from my account. Yes, sir. And did it go through? No, it is pending because it requires additional verification. We flagged it because the device was new. That was my first piece of tangible proof. A time, a method, and a failed attempt. I asked, Can you tell me the IP address? She hesitated. We cannot provide that directly, but we can note it and release it under legal request. Then note it, I said. And I need an audit trail. Full beneficiary history. And a certified copy of the current designation on file. There was a pause. That is not a common request, I know, I said. That is why I need it. She escalated me to a supervisor. I repeated everything, calm, exact times. The voicemail. The bank alerts. The supervisor's tone changed when I said undue influence and attempted access. Mr. Carter, she said, we can generate a beneficiary history printout and mail it certified. We can also email you a confirmation of your current beneficiary. I need it today. I said. She said, we can send a secure PDF within 2 hours. And when she said that, I finally felt like I was not crazy, because now it was real. Now it was documented. At 10:36 a.m. The secure email arrived. Inside was a PDF titled Beneficiary Designation Audit. Policy number L1847721. It listed my original designation from years ago. My father then updated after he passed. Then the last entry, October 12th, 2:12:44 a.m. Change request initiated. Pending verification. Device unrecognized. And underneath, the proposed change details. Primary beneficiary. Leah Carter, 100% unchanged. Contingent beneficiary. Darlene H., 100%. New. My hands went cold, because whoever submitted it knew exactly how to make it look reasonable. Keep Leah as primary. So I would not panic immediately, slip Darlene in as contingent. So if anything happened, divorce, dispute, death, Darlene would have an argument to make, and the most chilling part? The form included a phone number for contact. It was not mine. It was Darlene's. She had tried to insert herself as the point of contact on my policy. That was not a mom worried about her daughter. That was someone building a doorway into my finances. This is where the story could have turned into a simple confrontation, and I almost did it. At 11:20 a.m. I went to Leah's bridal suite to show her the PDF. Leah read it, covered her mouth, and whispered, She is insane. She wanted to march downstairs and expose Darlene right then, but I stopped her. Not because I was protecting Darlene, because I did not have the full picture yet. All I knew was someone accessed my insurer portal. They tried to add Darlene as contingent beneficiary. It happened at 2:12 a.m. Darlene was in the hallway at that exact time. The contact number was hers. That is strong. But if I accused her without sealing the chain of proof, she would do what manipulators always do. She would cry. She would deny. She would turn it into Evan is paranoid. And half the family would believe her because it is easier than believing the mother of the bride tried to tamper with a groom's life insurance the night before the wedding. So I told Leah, let me handle it. Then I called someone I trusted. My attorney friend, Miles Chun. Miles was not attending the wedding, but he answered on the second ring. I said, Miles, I need you to do me a favor today. I need a sealed envelope ready, and I need you on standby in case someone makes a scene. Miles listened. Then he said, email me everything. Do not confront her yet, and that is when we set the trap. Quietly. Here is where the story takes a turn you might not expect. The anonymous text. Check your beneficiary ASAP. Still bothered me. So while Leah was getting ready, I went downstairs to the hotel cafe to clear my head and think. That is where I met the helper in this story, a woman behind the counter named Marisol. Maybe late 50s. Tired eyes. Kind voice. I ordered black coffee and she glanced at my boutonniere box and said, wedding day? I nodded. She handed me the coffee and quietly said, just be careful with the mother. I froze. Excuse me? Marisol did not look up. She wiped the counter like she had not said anything. I leaned in. What do you know? Finally, she met my eyes and said, I worked the overnight shift. I saw her at the business center around 2. Using the computer. Printing things. My pulse kicked up. Did you see what she printed? Marisol shook her head. No, but she was on the phone saying something like, he will do it once he is cornered. Then she asked me where the fax machine was. Fax machine. Who faxes in 2025 unless they are sending forms? I asked, did anyone else see her? Marisol said, the night security guy. But he will not get involved unless management asks. Then she added, and I am the one who texted you. I stared. You texted me? Marisol nodded. I saw the name on the reservation list earlier that day. You were listed as the groom. I did not know how else to warn you without her hearing. That text was not spam. It was a warning. And now, I had a witness placing Darlene at a computer, printing and trying to fax. At the exact time my beneficiary change attempt happened, that was the missing piece. At 12:10 p.m., I asked the wedding planner, Tessa, for a quiet moment. Tessa was all business. Clipboard, headset, calm eyes. I told her, I need you to hold something for me, sealed. Do not open it unless I tell you. She did not ask why. She just said, okay. I gave her one envelope addressed to her and one addressed to the OFFICIN inside. The insurer audit printout, the certified current designation page, and a written summary of the timeline, plus a transcript of the voicemail. I also told Tessa, if there is a scene at the reception and Darlene takes the mic, you pause everything. Do not let her ramble. Hand the envelope to the officiant. Tessa looked at me for a long beat, then said, has she threatened the event? I said she tried to threaten my future. Tessa nodded once. Understood. I will have security briefed. Then I made one more call. To the hotel manager, I said, I need confirmation of who used the business center at around 2 in the morning, and whether anything was printed or faxed. The manager said they could review keycard access and camera coverage for the hallway, not the computer screen. But the area. Another breadcrumb. By 3 p.m., we were at the ceremony, and I'm going to be honest. Standing there, watching Leah walk toward me, I tried to shove the whole thing away, because that is what you do when you love someone. You tell yourself, this is just noise. This is family drama. Do not let it poison today. The ceremony was beautiful. We said our vows. We signed the marriage license at 3:42 p.m. with 2 witnesses, and for a couple of hours, Darlene behaved. She smiled. She took photos. She hugged Leah like the perfect mother, but I watched her like you watch a storm on the horizon. Because the night before, she was not acting like a mother. She was acting like someone running a transaction. The reception started at 5:30 p.m. in the ballroom. Dinner went smoothly. Speeches were cued. Photographer ready. DJ ready. Champagne poured. At 6:18 p.m., I noticed Darlene whispering with Leah's uncle near the bar. He looked uncomfortable, shaking his head. At 6:25 p.m., she walked straight toward the DJ booth, and I felt the shift in the room before she even spoke. The way people sense something about to happen. She asked for the microphone. The DJ hesitated, but she smiled like she belonged there. Then she turned to face the room. 200 guests, all dressed up. all expecting a toast. Her voice boomed through the speakers. I just want to say, I'm glad Evan finally realized what he is getting into. A few nervous laughs. Then she pointed, not subtly, toward Leah. My daughter may look sweet, but do not be fooled. I have seen women like this. Leah's smile disappeared. Darlene raised her chin and said, the word like she had been saving it. Gold digger. The room went silent in that hard, painful way. Forks stopping, chairs creaking. People unsure if they should laugh or stand, Darlene continued. And if Evan is smart, he will make sure his assets stay where they belong. Where they belong, not with his wife, not with their family. Where they belong. And that is when I nodded once at Tessa. Tessa moved like a professional. Fast, calm, no panic. She stepped between Darlene and the crowd, put a hand up, and said into the mic, let's pause one moment. Then she handed an envelope to our officiant, Pastor Glenn. Pastor Glenn was not the type to be rattled. He took the envelope, opened it, and looked at the top page. I stepped forward, took the mic gently from Darlene. She did not let go at first, her fingers tight. Then I said, calm enough that I heard my own voice steady, Darlene, since you want to talk about money in front of everyone, let's talk about what actually happened. Her eyes flashed. Excuse me? I nodded at Pastor Glenn. He cleared his throat and read only what mattered. No drama, no commentary. Policy audit. Change request initiated. October 12th at 2:12 a.m. Contingent beneficiary added. Darlene H. Contact number updated to a number ending in 4431. Darlene's phone number. Then Pastor Glenn read the next line. Request did not originate from the policyholder's recognized device, the heir. Changed. Because now it was not gossip. It was a time-stamped record from an insurer. Darlene's mouth opened slightly, like she had forgotten other people could document things. Darlene tried to recover fast. She laughed. Too loud, too forced. Oh, for God's sake, she said. That is ridiculous. I do not even know how those portals work. Evan probably clicked something by accident and now he wants to blame me because I am trying to protect him. That was her plausible cover story. For half a second, you could feel some guests wanting to accept it, because accepting it meant the world made sense again. But I was not done. I lifted my phone, connected to the DJ auxiliary input, something we had tested earlier for a slideshow, and I played her voicemail, her whisper, through the ballroom speakers. Do not be stubborn. Just put me as backup, in case she takes everything. No one moved. No one coughed. It was so quiet you could hear the ice clink in someone's glass. Darlene's face did not go red. It went flat, like the mask had finally slipped, and she did not bother picking it up. I did not yell. I did not insult her back. That is what she wanted. I said one sentence, clearly for witnesses. Darlene, you are not listed on any of my policies. You will never be. And from this moment forward, you are removed from all emergency contacts and barred from any financial discussion with me or Leah. Then I looked at Tessa and said, if she does not leave, please have security escort her out. Darlene lifted her chin, scanning the room, trying to find a lies, but what she saw, what I will never forget, was that people were not looking at Leah like she was a gold digger. They were looking at Darlene like she was the one circling the money. She tried to speak again, but security was already there. 2 staff members in black suits, polite, firm. Tessa, one said quietly, we have got it. Darlene snapped, you cannot do this to me, but they did not touch her. They just stood close enough that she understood the choice. She threw the mic down on the DJ table, grabbed her purse, and walked out of the ballroom alone, and the doors shut behind her. You would think that was the end. It was not, because after the reception, while people were dancing and pretending the air had not been poisoned, I went to the hotel manager again. At 9:40 p.m., he showed me a still frame from the hallway camera near the business center, timestamp, 2:09 a.m., Darlene, clear as day, holding a folder, then another frame, 2:16 a.m., Darlene leaving, walking fast. Looking over her shoulder, the manager wrote a brief incident note for records. Who was seen, when, and where. It was not a smoking gun by itself, but combined with the insurer audit and the voicemail, it was a chain. And chains hold up in court. That night, Leah and I did not go to the after party. We sat in our suite, still in wedding clothes, laptops open. Not romantic, but necessary. We logged into every account and changed everything again. Emails, banking, retirement portals. We added two-factor authentication everywhere and set security questions to answers Darlene could not guess, and then Miles. My attorney friend sent me a single text, tomorrow morning. We send formal notice to insurer. Attempted fraud and undue influence. Preserve records. Written only contact. That is when I realized we were not just dealing with a nasty speech. We were dealing with attempted financial manipulation that could have followed us for decades. On Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m., Miles filed a formal letter to my insurer's fraud department. It included the beneficiary audit trail with the 2:12 a.m. attempt. A sworn statement from me about not initiating the change. The voicemail file with metadata showing the timestamp. The hotel manager's incident note referencing business center presence. And a request to flag the policy for attempted and authorize changes and require written notarized requests for any future modifications. The insurer responded within 48 hours confirming a fraud watch had been placed on the policy. Then Miles helped me do something I did not even know existed. We filed an internal HR note at my workplace for my employer. Provided life insurance, so no one could call pretending to be my spouse or family member and get information. We also set my bank accounts to verbal password, plus two-factor authentication. Every door Darlene might try to wiggle through. Closed. Darlene did not apologize. She did not even try to. Instead, 3 days after the wedding, Leah received a long email titled, "You embarrass me." In it, Darlene claimed I set her up. Claimed Leah brainwashed me, and said she was only trying to protect family assets. Family assets. Not Leah's marriage. Not Leah's happiness. Assets. Then she slipped and wrote one line that Miles told me to keep forever if you had just added me as contingent like I asked. None of this would have happened. That email became another piece of evidence. Written admission that she requested to be added. Miles advised Leah to reply only once, with a boundary. Do not contact us about finances. All communication goes through counsel, and then we did the hardest thing for Leah. We blocked her mother for a while, not out of spite, out of safety. In early November, the consequences finally caught up. The insurer's fraud team contacted me asking if I wanted to proceed with a formal complaint. Miles laid out the options. Do nothing further. Just keep the flag in place or submit a full report that could support attempted identity theft or attempted fraud, depending on jurisdiction. We chose to proceed, not because we wanted revenge, but because we wanted a paper trail if she ever tried again with something bigger. A mortgage, a line of credit, medical decisions. A local detective took a statement from me on November 6th. He said something that stuck with me. People think fraud looks like strangers in hoodies. Most of the time it is family with a smile, because Darlene did not need my social security number. She had proximity. She had access. She had confidence. And she was betting I would be too. Embarrassed to do anything about it, the legal part ended quieter than people expect. Darlene was not dragged out in handcuffs from a courtroom. What happened was more practical and in some ways more humiliating for her. The investigator confirmed unauthorized access attempt and attempted beneficiary alteration. Because it did not complete and no funds were stolen, it did not become some dramatic felony trial, but she did face consequences, a formal cease and desist from Miles' office, a documented fraud report attached to the policy, a warning from the investigator that further attempts could result in charges, and this was the one she hated most. She lost the ability to spin the story in the family. Because the people in that ballroom had heard it. The voicemail, the audit. Her phone number on the form. Even relatives who wanted to stay neutral could not explain that away. Leah's uncle, one of the few people Darlene usually controlled, called Leah and said, "I am sorry. I did not realize she was doing things like this. Not, I'm sorry you were upset. I did not realize. She was doing things like this. That is what proof does, that takes away someone's ability to rewrite reality. Leah and I did not come out of this unchanged. For the first few months of marriage, we had rules that felt more like a business partnership than a honeymoon. No family member gets access to any document. No insurance. No bank. No medical. Emergency contacts updated. Leah and my brother only. Medical directives. Signed and stored digitally with miles. Credit freezes with all three bureaus. Written only communication with Darlene through counsel until further notice. But eventually, peace returned, not because Darlene suddenly became reasonable, because the doors were locked. And she knew it. At Christmas, Leah chose not to attend the family gathering. Instead, we stayed home, cooked too much food, and watched old movies. And for the first time, Leah said something that broke my heart a little. I did not know my own mom was waiting for you to die, I told her. She was not waiting. She was trying to plan, and that is worse. Here is what I learned, and if you are still listening, this is the part I hope you take with you. Sometimes the person accusing someone else of being a gold digger is the person holding the shovel. Darlene thought she could shame Leah publicly and pressure me privately, all in the same weekend. She thought the wedding, our guests, our vows, the momentum would trap us into keeping quiet, but she forgot something simple. Banks send alerts. Insurers keep audit trails. Voicemails have timestamps, and people like Marisol, the ones you do not even notice, sometimes see everything. So if you ever get that gut feeling that something is off, do not just argue. Do not just cry. Do not just hope it stops. Document, verify, lock it down, because love is real. But paperwork is reality, and if you want more stories where the truth comes out with evidence, not shouting, subscribe to Whispered Truths and tell me in the comments, have you ever had a family member get weird about money right before a big life event? Because I will tell you something else. Plain as day, the wedding was only one day, but what she tried to do at 2:13 n.m. could have followed us for the rest of our lives.